The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico DeHaan and Paige Clark.
Good morning, I'm Nico DeHaan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. Good morning, and I'm Paige Clark.
It's a beautiful morning in downtown Clearwater. It's mostly cloudy and 73 degrees, but I feel the colder air.
Makes me happy. I like a little fall action going on.
That'd be nice.
Please make sure to subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. Brand new issue coming out today,
right
I
now.
think. Like we speak. Starts out with the great nutrient collapse. We have research for the whole week and put together a great 26-page newsletter and with all the links so you can stay connected on what's really happening in our world.
That's right, and please pick up some Primal Edge, our one-shot wonder, over 310 organic, cell-ready ingredients, all powered by fulvic and humic acid to let the good stuff in, take the bad stuff out.
Bad stuff out. Give us a call today if you're up and at it, 877-927-6648.
I'd like to start off today with a little video. Let's see if I can find the video. Here it is, right here. Now, this is a video of an android. If we can start it at the beginning.
A video of what? Women sets up boyfriend with Asian twin. What's that? Not?
That's not the one I wanted. Let me see if I can redial this up. Oh, you know how have you seen the Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner?
Yes, but it's been years.
Yeah, so the new one is coming out.
Okay.
And
Can you tell if she's a robot or a human, lifelike android, at a Tokyo conference? Okay, let's see.
And here's the video of it. Let me expand it out.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I mean, this is an android. And the scientists are always saying that what they're showing us is 20 years behind what actually is taking place. So when you look at this, it kind of makes you wonder, where are we really at, and are there robots in the streets or not? Probably not, but and it's a kind of
Well,
an
it makes you
interesting thing.
wonder if these robots are being used to carry out nefarious acts, like things that have happened in the news recently.
Well, I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole any which way, but I thought it just was an
I think
interesting
being
thing.
down the rabbit hole is probably more real than real life today. It's really crazy. But that artificial intelligence is where it's going, and there's a lot of people that, if you really want to get up to date on that, there's people that are really keeping us posted on what's going on with that. That is hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to go about is this article here on the cancer death rates are higher in East Texas than other parts of the Texas state. And, before we started the show, we were really talking about this a little bit, and there's a map here.
While you're finding the map, officials
right
in East Texas are trying to figure out how to combat the alarming statistic that more people in the East Texas region die from cancer than the rest of the state. That is a pretty compelling map. When you look at this, Nico, let's share with people what we're seeing when we see that red.
Okay, the red is actually the
Hazardous
transmission.
liquid.
Yeah, gas transmission lines and the hazardous liquid transmission lines that are in the United States. There's a lot of them, you can see.
Well,
but East Texas is this whole area right here.
Yeah, sure enough.
And, of course, we know Texas is a big petroleum state.
Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah, and we also know they're spraying things in the air just about everywhere. But this is quite compelling when you look at it. These are areas I would not want to live anywhere near, all these just red areas, real deep red areas. And I just thought it was an interesting article saying, here they're trying to correlate what happened here. And I think this map really does say a lot about
According
that.
to the Texas Department of State Health Services statistics, death rate is determined by the number of deaths caused by cancer out of every 100,000 people in a population. using this measurement system, if Northeast Texas was taken out of the state, it would have a cancer death rate of 170 individuals per 100,000, and the rest of the state would be at 156. And they, they're stating they're very frustrated in reviewing the data each year and seeing what's going on, and hopefully they can come up with something. But it certainly is easy for us to see, Nico, that the environment we're living in is having a great impact on our health and our quality of life.
Yeah, and that's the reason I brought it up. Last week we talked about the nutrition density has waned since the 1950s and probably long before that. And we talk about all the drugs and the type of things that we have to detox from. And here it shows a map where all these hazardous materials are they're underground, but they're passing right by your house, perhaps.
Correct.
You might be living on top of that, so it's no good. The other thing is there's been a real uptick of earthquake activity and volcano. And this prediction center was started by John Casey and some of his scientists from, he was formerly head of NASA before, and NOAA. Very knowledgeable guy. He had a great book recently that he had brought out, which was called Upheaval, Why Catastrophic Earthquakes Will Soon Strike the United States.
Well, let's you and I summarize what we've been saying based on the research that we've been doing. Is that volcanic activity is on the rise, primarily due to solar activity, i.e. the sun is slowing down. When the sun becomes less active, the protection from these waves is decreased.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens is the sun gives us a lot of energy, and it really bolsters our atmosphere. And when the sun goes into a hibernation during,
grand solar minimums.
Yeah, and even just solar minimums, there's more uptick in earthquakes. I have a nice article here. Big earthquakes generally occur at low sunspot numbers. Here we have all the major earthquakes, the last 10 over the years, and they're all pretty much in the lower parts of these sunspot numbers. Some of them are going when it's rising up, some coming down, but majority of them are in this. So that's a pretty an interesting thing.
That is a good, picture.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Now,
pictures are
there's
worth
the next
1,000
article.
words.
Yeah. Next one is, that's the one I had. I got another one just below that one, which is
Cosmic solar radiation as the cause of earthquakes and volcanic activity.
So this is becoming mainstream now. A lot of scientists are studying this. So in the last few decades, research papers started to appear in the scientific press that clearly show a correlation between cosmic solar radiation and destructive geological events like earthquakes and volcanoes, something that the electric universe has been talking about for about 10 years, and now it's becoming mainstream. I think clearly because people know that we're going into the grand solar minimum. And a grand solar minimum, we have these minimums every 11 years, but a grand solar minimum means there is another thing taking place about every 200 to 400 years. There's a real slowdown, much deeper.
And it's a little bit more expansive time period, I think, yes.
Yeah, and it does sometimes go on for 30, 50, 60 years or more. So we'll go on with this. I just wanted to bring this to the people's attention here, and I've got some more interesting things in here about the cosmic rays. So stick around, folks. We'll be back. The number here is 877-927-6648. Give us a call if you'd like to join the conversation. And meanwhile, pick up the Primal Edge, which is our one-shot wonder. We'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive.
We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back. And Paige and Nico, we're living a primal lifestyle. We want you to too. You know, you may wonder sometimes why we bring up a lot of news about the weather, because I think hopefully those of you that tune in to us know that we believe our environment is the big impact on how our health and our lifestyle.
Good way of putting it.
And our forefathers knew this, and they were aware, and they surveilled their surroundings, and they looked for signs in the skies and signs in the atmosphere.
Yeah, and what's happening now with the grand solar minimum, we see different things, different clouds. You've probably seen pictures of these cloud shelves that are over Texas often. Great big thunderstorms, but they look like they're just monsters. Here's a phenomenon that you see in the sky. This was over Washington, Alberta.
Well, I think this is cool because it's saying the incredible aura phenomenon captured over Washington and Alberta. We think of these as being maybe just northern lights way up there.
Well, a few weeks ago, this came into the thing, and they called it Steve because they said they have never seen it before.
Yeah, how did they come up with a photo of Steve as seen from Darrington, Washington? This was on September 27th, because getting to see a brilliant display of the northern lights is pretty rare around Washington, but Tuesday night's display brought something even less common, a Steve sighting.
Yeah, Steve was coined by Chris Ratskev, a photographer and administrator for the Alberta Aurora Chasers. So we have the volcano chasers, we have the hurricane chasers and tornado chasers, and now we have, of course, the Aurora Chasers. He named the Steve after he's watched the movie Over the Hedge, which is animals are scared of an unknown something on the other side of the hedge, and they decided to call it Steve. So he looked at this and said he hadn't seen it. Now they're saying, though, in the press that while this is actually a very common phenomenon, we just haven't noticed it. Which I find kind of strange.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of sites.
That's kind of like what the government is renaming clouds that we see in the sky.
Yeah.
As if we didn't have, I mean...
We don't have enough names for clouds, but there are different clouds. I mean,
well, I
I
think they're clouds that are being made by geoengineering, and they want us to think that they've been there.
Yeah, and what a lot of the science is saying now is that a lot of those things that you're seeing in the sky are typical of grand solar minimum, so probably both is going on.
Oh, yeah.
Here is an aurora over Seattle, and you can see it's nice and green and everything, but here the reds are getting in there, and these are really dangerous types. When you see it going from purple to red, you're seeing a lot of changes.
Why is it dangerous if it's
there's just more intensity.
Oh, okay.
Simply that, yeah. So.
Got to stay awake and aware, folks. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing. So,
Well, this last article I have on this subject, let me get to
is this
it.
the high energy cosmic rays are not from our galaxy?
Yes, that's the one.
And there's a sky map that shows the flux of high energy cosmic rays that have been used in this study. And you know what's really happening is it's saying that since high energy cosmic rays have been associated with cloud formations, the researcher was wondering if the cosmic ray numbers fluxed or were they a stable stream. If the number was stable, the impact would be the same on cloud formation. However, if they varied over time, the cosmic rays could impact our climate from afar.
Yes. So here we have a synopsis of what the galaxy, this is where we are in this area here, and they say the cosmic rays are coming from really deep space, and this is something that real wide field, they call this, with the telescopes. So this is billions and billions of miles away.
Interesting. This came from a website called the Next Grand Minimum.
Yes.
.wordpress.
Yeah, I get a lot of my information from that site about the grand solar minimums, along with the electric universe, and of course suspicious observers. They were talking about this the past weekend, about the different types of things that we're seeing. So I think it's interesting. I think we have to keep abreast of it, and certainly we need to prepare for things. In the United States, we haven't had a lot of earthquake activity in the Madras Fault, and they do show that about 200 years ago and 400 years ago, there was a lot of activity.
Right.
A lot of activity in a major route across the Mississippi River. Now, what's happened last week, the upper Mississippi kind of drained, and the mile-wide Mississippi was no longer a mile wide. People could actually walk across it. It's in certain areas. So this phenomenon of water disappearing has been happening on the coast of Brazil.
Well, it happened here in Tampa
It
Bay right
happened
after the
here-
hurricane.
Yeah, before the
rolled in.
hurricane,
Right
actually.
before, yeah.
And now the Mississippi River last week was draining too, just in the upper parts, which makes you think, where's the water going? That's the question. You can say in the sea, well, maybe 2,000 miles there's something happening. But on a river, it's probably more localized.
Well,
so is the water draining down?
Should we be concerned, Nico, that
Well, we
if
should
it
be prepared.
disappears, it could also come rushing back in?
Well, that's another thing too. It
And
could
at
be
higher
earthquakes
levels.
are starting there, and we don't have the seismic activity yet.
Yeah, maybe it's underwater. And it's
Under the ground,
Yeah,
sure,
that's
in
what I'm saying.
fissures. Some people are speculating it could be from fracking, that type of thing, but we really don't know. The thing to do is prepare, and that is a major hub. If you're talking about the Mississippi River, that's where all the bridges are that cross our country, that link the east and west. And a lot of our food comes from the west, it comes from the north. And if these bridges go down during earthquakes, how long will it take to get this stuff
Well,
from
that's-
the east to the west? I mean,
That's one of the things I've learned from viewing some of the research on, for example, strategic relocation and those channels. The future map of the U.S. basically has the Mississippi becoming almost like a sea. It's no longer
Yeah,
a
I've seen those
river,
too.
which would then obviously impact the the ability to transverse this
Yeah.
river. And separate big continental pieces of the United States,
Yeah.
which could make food So really, what are we getting at? Let's have eyes wide open, not eyes wide shut. Let's pay attention to what's going on. And I kind of want to, I know we're going to go on to some other things here. I sent you that video that had Dave from Adapt 2030
Yes.
talk, and it just really hit me of how he was having an interview with another gentleman, and they were discussing the significance of how all these weather changes are going to impact our food supply.
Another interesting thing that Dave brings up is the Chinese, because of their long history of keeping notes on all their dynasties and when
That's
they
what
fell.
was so fascinating, that
Yeah.
they know what's coming,
Yeah.
and they're preparing.
Well, they've
for it.
realized that all these events of their collapse of society happened during grand solar minimums.
Mm-hmm.
So about 20 years ago, they started
Easy.
going to Africa and making different bridges and tunnels and railroads and all kinds of different roads into Africa, growing areas where they're starting to grow different types of food. So maybe they know something we don't. They're certainly big on research of grand solar minimums, and I think the mainstream is starting to get the idea that the grand solar minimum is upon us. Supposedly 2019, 2020 is when we actually go into it. But the slide seems to have started already. We're getting much more cold weather all around the world. Norway
and I hear
Sweden.
what you're saying, and you made the comment, the mainstream, but the average person that's on the conversations or Facebook is still talking about climate change as opposed to we're getting hotter.
Yeah.
And I feel this is such a disservice to people because I think it's going to be caught without being a watcher.
Well, that's
You're
because
not
this
being a
is,
watcher, you're
remember,
not
this
paying
stuff is
attention to what's happening.
driven by cash, by money.
Yeah, they don't want people panicking.
Well, that's certainly true. Nobody would want that. But, eyes open and no fear, the way I see it.
And be prepared.
That's right.
And pay attention.
Yeah. So we'll be
Okay.
right back. I got an interesting article about the birth of farming and what it caused to us. So stick around, folks. We'll be right back. Number here is 877-927-6648.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
We're reading from an article here, Birth of Farming Caused Jaw-Dropping Changes to Human Skull, Scientists Find. Humans have small, slender heads, weaker jaws because of the discovery of soft foods like cheese and dairy, a new study finds.
Yeah, they found this out. Research at the University of California suggests the advent of farming, especially soft foods like dairy, had a small but very significant effect on the shape of the human skull. And really, we needed in the past, prior to these softer foods, tremendous jaw strength to break the food bones of what they were
In fact,
fighting.
we see that in the skulls of our ancestors. They had bigger jaws. They had bigger muscles around those jaws. So as we went from a hunter and gatherer lifestyle, and it probably started maybe even with cooked food, maybe 35, 40,000 years ago, when we started cooking food. We certainly could spend less time chewing and digesting our food, because the advent of fire and allowing us to cook our food made it easier to digest, less energy. It allowed our brains to grow. It allowed us to become a lot smarter too.
This is kind of pulling this all together. I was researching the work of the Doctors Mew, father, son, MEW. They are orthotropic doctors. We don't have a big movement in the U.S. like they do in Europe. People fly all over Europe in to see the Doctors Mew, but it's really an alternative to orthodontia, that you get a much more attractive facial structure by helping the jaws retain more of the traditional shape. And one of their big things is to chew chewing gum and get hard chewing gum, so you're really using those jaw muscles and exercising them. And we would think that it makes sense, though, that chewing gum would be a good exercise for the face.
Yeah, the reason in all the effort it took to eat farmed food, human beings who live by hunter and gathering and foraging foods have to put more effort into chewing than those surviving on softer foods. Without the daily workup of crunching, grinding, gnawing, bones and muscles declined, and the refined features of the farming communities started taking place. The farming people looked different.
The efforts of farming is mostly visible in the areas of the skull that generate or experience stress doing chewing. So you're going to see it in that lower jaw area. The simplest explanation is that these stresses were reduced because farming diets were generally softer.
Yeah. Human hunter-gatherers began to rely on diets from domestic plants and animals from over and around 10,000 years ago, and
our skulls actually started to shrink at that time.
But you can never quantify the change or saying why it happened. Of course, Weston Price talked about this around the turn of the century. He indicated this a long time ago.
And it has not actually been a positive effect.
Definitely not. No.
We have less breathing ability because everything's gotten more narrow. Our airways in our neck, because this whole jaw area is smaller. Our teeth are not laid out ideally. Therefore, if the teeth don't have that space, the tongue doesn't have a nice big area to rest itself. It can end up falling back and creating like sleep apnea.
Okay.
You see this more with people when they gain weight, and you also see it in people who have poor dentition, which comes about as a result of eating the foods we were not designed to do. So agriculture changed not only human culture and life ways, but also the biology of us as well.
Yeah, the largest changes in skull
morphology.
Yeah, were observed in groups consuming dairy products, suggesting that the effect of agriculture on skull morphology was greater in population with the softer food. So this is pretty interesting, and some of this we knew already. Drawing on an expansive gloating database and an innovative analytic approach, the study demonstrates small but consistent effects of soft agricultural diet on the skull, related directly to the chewing anatomy, this says.
Yeah, it says that our bone mass was about 20% higher in the foragers, the equivalent to what an average person would lose after 3 months of weightlessness in space. That's significant when you think about it.
Yeah, there was a previous study by the University of Cambridge suggesting that over time skeletons have become much lighter, more fragile since the invention of agriculture as we switched from foraging to farming. So not only did it develop a different jawline, but probably all our bones in our body are more brittle, easier to break. And
well, think about there was not as much weight-bearing exercise, climbing, hopping over rocks, stooping, squatting to do the hunting action. So again, our environment is impacting our health.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And longevity.
I had posted on Facebook the little video of my new studio, which we moved into over the weekend and opened yesterday. Yeah, it's a great looking place, a little smaller than we had, but it saves us a lot of money, and it's just a real classy little operation. And Mark from Colorado Bigfoot commented on it. He says, I need to get in shape before I even come there. And I said, you're on that mountain going deep into the bush. There's nothing better than climbing mountains to get yourself in shape. He's in great shape.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't equate normal types of living that as a hunter-gatherer used to do as exercise. Their whole life was exercise.
And it's crazy. That's to me why we need to get back to just be an outsider. Get outside and stoop and bend down and grab a rock or smell a flower or climb a tree or hug a tree.
Well, during the Grand Solar Minimum coming, gardening would be a great thing to start right now. Learn how to grow some food, not only outside, but learn to grow food inside and get yourself some stores of some of these heritage type of seeds that are non-GMO. There's a lot of companies through David Byrne, the Adapt 2030. He has a site that sells seeds, sells amazing greenhouses that you can erect just in an hour in your backyard that are wind resistant, rain resistant, tornado resistant. That are little domes, and there's a lot of companies selling this stuff, and I encourage people to start exploring.
Yeah, when you need it, they're not going to be found, folks. So,
that's probably true. And how are you going to get it if we have all these problems that we're talking about?
If we have problems and the trucks aren't going to be moving, they're not going to be shipping. You're not going to be able to call Amazon and have it the next day. But, yeah, so staying prepared. One of the things, too, Nico and I have been sharing for quite some time, the importance of having quality, healthy fats in your diet. And but, we've gotten a couple emails about people in this whole fake olive oil situation. And there's some certain brands you want to be aware of because they've been proven to be shipping and delivering a poor quality olive oil. And it's disturbing. 70% of olive oil available in the stores in the U.S. has actually been cut with cheap, nastier oils. That's why sourcing your products is so important. It means that it's fake. I just want to, we're going to list a few of these brands.
I've got it on the telestrator right now. I mean, this is a long list of things that you shouldn't buy, and these are the ones.
It's a lot of the ones that's names sound like you're thinking, it sounds like a good Italian olive oil, and don't be fooled by slick marketing. Pompeian, Bertolli, Colavita, Star, Sasso.
There's a lot of them. Safeway, Whole Foods.
Whole Foods brand, Carpelli. You might want to go ahead and you can maybe put that in the newsletter for subscribers. They can double check because it's the other thing I want to caution you when you see olive oil. Basically, you want to look for the darkest bottles that keep that. Some of the brands that are great is Bariani. That's the one that I like. It actually has a born-on date, and California Olive Ranch. So make sure when you're buying these oils that you're picking ones that can keep you and your family healthy.
But we'll be right back, folks.
Be right back after the break.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
So we were talking before the break about the fake olive oil scam that's kind of been going on, and one of the questions was, how do we know? Well, we've got the list of brands, but you can also do a self-test. Take your olive oil and put it in the refrigerator. If it starts to solidify, chances are it contains good monosaturated fats, which are what are the healthful properties of olive oil. The oils they've been cutting things with are your cottonseed, your terrible PUFA, rancid oils, and they would not solidify in a refrigerator situation. So that's a great way to test it, and then maybe get that list so you can make sure the ones you're buying are either certified by perhaps state or country certification boards, and many of them are now doing that because of this scam.
Great. I love it when we have some solutions here. Are hunter and gatherers the happiest people to inhabit Earth?
Well,
this is a real
look at this kid, though. I mean, I
Look
want
at
you
his
to zoom in.
jawline.
This is what Weston Price noticed when he traveled the world. He noticed that these traditional people had the most beautiful bone structures. Look at that nice, wide nasal area where he can get good air in to oxygenate himself. The wide cheekbones. Look at those lips, wide mouth, not a crowded teeth. I'm sure if he was smiling, we'd see some beautiful pearly whites, and he's probably never even been to see a dentist.
Yeah. Takes me kind of back to my own history. And, of course, I was never a hunter and gatherer. But when in the early 1950s, I think it was 1951, when our family moved to Canada, we were very poor. We had all the money was wrapped up in coming over.
Right.
So we had no housing. We had no money. My dad had a little part-time job. He hitchhiked to find us in Montreal, where we docked, and then brought us back to Chatham, Ontario, where we started our pilgrimage in Canada. And we were very poor for the first 4 or 5 years. We were so happy.
Right.
It was amazing. And, you know, as children, you don't know you're poor. You think this is normal.
And that's
so
a terrible situation when that actually happens.
Well, it's not a terrible situation from the standpoint
I'm
of the
talking about
child.
when you actually are brainwashed into thinking there's something wrong with you because you're poor.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And in fact, we were
I've had that
discriminated
conversation
against
with people.
heavily because we were called DPs, which were deep displaced persons. Well, my dad was fuming mad at that because we had paid our own way.
Right.
You know, we paid our life savings just to get there. So discrimination just because we didn't speak the language. We sounded different. We had different expressions.
Right.
And of course, not being in the school, you know, you come to school and you're the kid that can't really speak too well and you're picked on, and that certainly happened to me. But we were happy.
And that's the whole
the
point, Nico.
Point of the whole thing.
This lifestyle of high stress is probably the most unrich thing that we can imagine.
Yeah.
And as you said, perhaps that happiness was a carefree, stressful life. So
It says here the idea is very simple. Perhaps the American and European way of living isn't the pinnacle of human existence. Humanity hasn't been marching in a linear fashion towards some promised land, perhaps. Western society isn't some magical state in which technology frees us from the shackles of acquiring basic needs and allow us to maximize leisure and pleasure. No, it's exactly the opposite around. We're the hardest working people, which I guess we should be proud of because that's what the news tells us. But actually, hunter and gatherers work about 3 hours a day, and the rest of the time they're at leisure, they're doing what they're passionate about, and they have a pretty good life.
I think it's great because so many people are embracing that lifestyle. For example, even the unschooling movement, get out of the indoctrination camps,
Yep.
get into living life. You know, why do we work all day to be separated from our children and actually work harder to pay someone to raise our children
It doesn't
with
make any
different morals?
sense.
It makes no sense.
We move away from our loved ones because of school first, because of jobs later on. These are the two things that keep us apart, to keep us segregated. And there's a big movement, of course, we want black people intermingled. And I agree with that whole philosophy, but there's a natural way of living, too, where people live in their own little community and then explore the outer. And I think it's a much more interesting world that way. But I do believe in modern society that the color barrier should be erased. I mean, we now know that there is only one race, the human being.
Race, that's
yeah,
right.
the human race.
Well, I think we're going to see much more of that as more and more people are looking to be part of free communities. I like anarcho-capitalism. I think that makes a lot of sense of living in more of a free world. And I think we still, many of us will wake up in the mornings and feel that we're free, but as we're seeing with some of the stuff that was going on in Spain, with those violent police, with the people that wanted to vote. Mm-hmm. The question is, have we been misled to believe that we're still free?
Well, we're definitely not free.
Not like these people. Not like these people who
Yeah,
are
and the
living...
question here is, did our hunter and gatherers have it better off? And this is an article from the New Yorker. We're flattering ourselves by believing that their existence was so grim and that our modern civilized one is by comparison so great. I mean, just look what happened the other day. I mean, in a hunter-gatherer society, you will never have mass killings.
Absolutely not. Scroll up and show them this picture of this. I can relate to this one. Look at this grandmother and her grandson. Ear-to-ear grins and having fun and interacting. And today, many children don't even know their grandparents because their parents have been relocated for job reasons, and the families are, there's not a family home or a tribal home.
Well, the grandparents are probably in a segregated community for old people, or what they say, adult community, let's say.
Yeah. So this researcher, James Sussman, has spent the past 25 years living and learning from one of the last groups of hunter-gatherers left on Earth, the Khoisan, or Bushmen, in the Kalahari Desert of Namibia.
Yeah, a study back in the 1960s found Bushmen had figured out a way to work only 15 hours a week acquiring food, and then the other 15 to 20 hours on domestic chores. The rest of the time they could relax and focus on families, friends, and hobbies.
That sounds like a smart community to me. And in his new book, Sussman offers rare glimpses of what life was like in this efficient culture and what life was like for the vast majority of humans' evolution. This is we weren't working 40 hours a week. Working was a means to an end, not the end to the means.
Yeah, well, we think of modern humans, we have likely been on Earth for about 200,000 years, and for 90% of that time, we didn't stash grains in the cupboard or any ready-to-slaughter meats grazing outside our windows. Instead, we focused on ourselves, using our own 2 feet by hunting wild animals and gathering fruits and tubers.
So we've really diverged from the widely accepted, the idea of the hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Maybe we've left behind elements of life that inherently made us happy, and as we've learned, probably made us more optimal, more attractive, actually, I believe. I think that primitive people, from a bone structure and that kind of a thing, and
well, I mean,
maybe the culture of developed countries, as we often say, has left holes in our psyche.
Yeah, I really do believe that, because I'm happiest traveling, moving around, exploring different things, and as a nomadic hunter and gatherer, that's what I'd be doing all my life. I was always adventurous when I was a kid, going out to the bounds of where I could go.
Me too. I was a tomboy. I told
Yep,
you. You know,
yep.
the screen door went slapping, and we ran up into the mountains in Virginia, and we just listened for a holler to come
That's
home when
right.
it got dark.
That's right, and the kid is still inside me. I'm
still a kid,
73.
too. Me
yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
why we like
important.
each other, because we're
I think
both
so.
kids.
We'll be right back, folks. We have another segment coming up, so stick around.
Right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Back. I'm quoting from my article by Annika Becca, mindbodygreen.com, and she states that within months on a high-fat ketogenic diet, so many of my patients feel and look fabulous. Even their blood work looks better, and they are no longer cursing the scales. Studies confirm that a ketogenic diet can create those and other benefits. What she's created is a little chart on taking your high-fat diet to the next level by using some of these things that she says will help you ease into it, because some people do have problems, low acid, it changes the way that you feel, and these kind of things help. And number one.
Too many, just to clarify that,
Okay.
too many acidic foods, regardless of whether you're ketogenic or you're just eating a standard diet, they create a chronic low-grade acidosis, depleting your precious mineral stores. I read an article where someone thought, like Tom Petty, rest in peace, Tom Petty, by the way, loved him, that he was probably mineral depleted. You're losing these precious minerals like magnesium and calcium and potassium, and if you're not eating good fats, you're not able to bind and utilize and cleave these minerals from their food sources, and this affects your body. This affects your bone health. It increases inflammation and paves the way for chronic disease. So in essence, your body ends up scavenging minerals to balance your blood pH with adverse consequences. So here are a couple of tips that can take your high-fat diet to the next level. You want to bump up the alkaline foods.
Yeah, these include green leafy vegetables like kale and beets, greens, spinach, chard.
And add a little bit of grass-fed butter or the fat of your choice to give them extra seasoning with some healthy
Yeah, and a lot
seasoning.
of people are using these kind of nice. They put them in the blender and use them as a smoothie, and that's a nice way to get your greens too.
Or to make a delicious green soup. Delicious in the
Fantastic.
Like in the blend tech, you can actually warm it up. Blend it hard enough that it heats the soup without being too hot.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Number 2, eliminate acidic foods. And, we love our coffee. We like our alcohol and perhaps even some of our dairy, but it can knock you out of an alkaline state. Lay off of it a while till you get going and then reintroduce it.
Yeah. The third thing is be patient with yourself. She says, I give patients a week to become alkaline. Don't worry, you'll lose weight while you're shifting. And then focus on ketosis. Most patients see results almost immediately, but any lifestyle transformation can take a few days or weeks to adjust.
That's right.
A lot longer sometimes.
And then we've got intermittent fasting, which naturally complements the ketogenic lifestyle. When you're having healthy fats in your diet, you can go longer periods of time in between meals, and to increase your fast time to 13 to 15 hours between dinner and breakfast. It really gives your body that chance to do housekeeping and not be digesting food.
Yeah, and the last thing is she says, remember that it's a lifestyle and not a diet, and that's important reason because you're changing everything about the way you think and the way you live and, of course, the way you eat. You're doing a lot of research yourself because that's the only way you can get here. You need to read things like Nora Gagatas's books, like Sesson's books. Go to the website of Weston A. Price and do some digging in there, and you'll start to see why these things
traditions
why these wise traditions, just like you said, were an established fact of a way of life, and the reason was because it's a healthy way of living.
That's right. That's right. And so if you want to lose weight and cultivate glowing health, look at a ketogenic diet to reestablish the basis of your fat-soluble activators. That's what Weston A. Price called your fat-soluble nutrition. It activated the minerals and other components of the diet and allowed you to be a thriving, glowing, healthy human being.
Yeah, and let's be clear on something. Ketosis is not dangerous. Some people still confuse nutritional ketosis with diabetic ketoacidosis,
right.
a life-threatening complication of type 1 diabetes. Nutritional ketosis involves the regulation and controlled production of the pH balance and also the controlled fat burning. So
that's right.
It's very important to realize there is a difference in there. Start exploring on your own and finding a diet that's right for you.
That's right. And we'll see you next show. Stay healthy.
Thanks a lot, folks. Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.